Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom, and welcome to my workbench. I'm a retro computer enthusiast and by no means an expert at any of this, which will be very clear by the end of this video if this is your first one here. I want to start off by saying it's easy to feel defeated when things don't go as planned. In fact, up until the very end of this episode, that is exactly what happened in this video. Everything went wrong. But what if I told you that failure is actually the beginning, not the end? It's true. Every mistake I made, every setback I faced, became an opportunity to learn, to grow, to do something better. Without all the failing, I wouldn't know what to improve or how. And I like to know why things failed, which was a big part of this. So, I found the learning experience for all this invaluable, and I hope you do too. Without further ado, let's rebuild the Commodore 128's power supply 4 more times. So you may remember that quite some time ago now, I built this power supply for my Commodore 128 because it didn't come with one. And I'm not really thrilled with it. I never have been. It's had a few problems. I don't really care for how I ran the mains voltage right into the box instead of putting an IEC connector, and a couple other problems that I've had with it. Plus I took it apart to splice in for the 64C power supply until I got that rebuilt, and then I took it out, and it's just large and bulky and very annoying. So I'm going to rebuild it. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about what I did to rebuild this, but I did go through about 4 variations before I got to where I got to. And I wouldn't say the final result is perfect, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than it was when I started. Since the main goal of this project was to make a smaller footprint and easier to work with power adapter, I measured out and printed out a box that was just big enough to put all the components in, and 3D printed it because I couldn't find anything that was exactly the right size. And once I started looking at it, I thought, well, why do I need the 5-volt switching power supply? I should just be able to use the 6-volt tap and build a bridge rectifier 5-volt line, right? So, yeah, we tried that. And that led to version 3 of this project, which you can see has an even smaller box, and everything fits inside. I even included a fan for cooling. But I forgot one key thing. That 6-volt tap does not have enough amperage to run the Commodore 128. Plus, I don't think I gave myself enough room for the bridge rectifier circuit.
That is way tighter than I'd like it to be. But I don't feel like reprinting the box right now.
I even went so far as to have OSH Park rapid prototype a board so I could have the components in a smaller space before I realized that the 6-volt center tap was not going to give me enough power. Obviously that didn't work. So I went and ordered another 5-volt power supply, but with a much smaller footprint, and with that I had to print out a new box, and that's where we are now. Since the power supply is expecting mains voltage, I've got to wire it back in again, which means cutting in another splice, but I'm okay with that. And after applying a lot of heat shrink tubing to make sure that we don't short anything out anywhere, we can finally put everything into the box. Now, if you're about to ask, Tom, did you test everything before you put it in the box? The answer would be no. If you were to ask, Tom, did you bother to check the fit of your 3D printed box before you put the box together? The answer would also be no. But that's not going to stop me from moving forward. Not in the least. Okay. The moment of truth. Does it work? Now I've got a power switch on the box, which I didn't have before. It works. I kind of knew it was going to work because everything is actually very clearly labeled in there. But I've got to work in 128 again. I've got a power supply that I'm not worried about anymore. I'm pretty happy. And more importantly, I'm going to be able to play some Ultimate Wizard again. Yes! So, in the end, my final product may not be perfect, but it's important to remember, at this point, perfection was no longer the goal. The goal was progress. And in this video, despite everything else that went wrong, I made some significant progress with this version. I learned from my mistakes, I've made adjustments, and ultimately I have a power supply that I'm much happier with. It has a smaller footprint, I feel like it's wired up better, and it's got a switch on it, an LED, so I'm very happy about all of that. And I'm a big fan of embracing failure as a way to learn. And I think that's the way that we keep moving forward. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and press that subscribe button in the center of the screen. I've also got a couple other videos I think you might enjoy.